On January 19th, we're going to be having a historic fight going on between Henry Cejudo and TJ Dillashaw. It's historic in that it's going to be the first fight on the new ESPN deal that the UFC just signed, where it's 5 years, $300 million a year, 1.5 billion total. Beyond that, this is though we've had a few recent champion versus champion fights. This is the first time, as far as I can even think of. I think this is actually the first time where in a champion versus champion fight, the larger fighter is coming down in weight as opposed to the smaller fighter moving up. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to break down the previous fights for both Henry Cejudo and his fight against Demetrius Johnson, and then the TJ Dillashaw fight against Cody Garbrandt. Talk about some things that I think are going to apply from one fight to another, and then kind of give you guys an idea of how I see this fight going. Granted, I don't even after studying this, I don't feel like I have a really strong opinion yet either way on who I think is going to win. I think both of them have their path to victory, but right now I'm just going to go through what's actually happened in the past to give you an idea of what could possibly happen in the future. So as far as what I'm going to look at in this breakdown, I'm not going to really go into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too much. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of Jiu-Jitsu in this fight. I think if TJ takes Cejudo down, Cejudo is probably going to be working to get back up more from a folk style wrestling meta than he would from a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu standpoint if Cejudo takes TJ down. Though they may be in a Jiu-Jitsu position like the guard or like half guard, I wouldn't expect TJ to be working for sweeps. If anything, he might like try to set up like a single leg just to kind of use it to create a scramble and get up. But I don't really see there being any sweeps in this fight. I don't see there being any submission attempts in this fight. I sure don't see there being any deep submission attempts in this fight. So I'm really not going to go into jiu-jitsu too much on this. And then as far as the wrestling itself, I'll touch on it a little bit. But to me, the big story here is going to be the kicks. So the first thing I want to show you guys is the stat breakdown on the Mighty Mouse versus Cejudo fight. Now, going back and watching this fight, at the time that I watched it, I thought Mighty Mouse won. After rewatching, I still agree that I think Mighty Mouse won. But that's obviously neither here nor there. Mighty Mouse is now in 1FC, and it's not Mighty Mouse that's going to be fighting Cejudo. It's going to be TJ Dillashaw. And even if you think Mighty Mouse won the last fight, it's still worth noting that Cejudo took leaps and bounds from the first fight that he had with Mighty Mouse to the second one. He definitely got a lot better, and you would assume that he's been getting a lot better since this Mighty Mouse fight. And we're going to see some nice adjustments in him, or some nice adjustments from him in this next upcoming fight. But if you look at the stats here, you'll see that in total strikes, Mighty Mouse landed 81 significant strikes total, 81 significant strikes, 121 total. But then when it gets broken down into where he's landing, he landed 39 strikes to the legs. So he was very active with the leg kicks here. And when you look at how Henry Cejudo fights, when he is fighting the way he wants to fight, he's fighting from orthodox. He's fighting with that wide karate stance, as you can see here. And in doing so, he's kind of putting a lot of weight on that lead leg, that lead left leg. And Mighty Mouse was aware of this, and he decided that he would make a big part of his game plan to go after that leg and actually attack it. So I'm going to kind of show a couple of times early on in the fight where he went after it and where he actually had some great success with it.
More like Lyoto Machida or, a Shotokan stylist than it would a guy who's an Olympic gold medalist in wrestling. But he used it
so there's the leg kick there. And Cejudo's ankle starts to go out right there. This was an issue for him early in round one. Now, obviously not every leg kick is going to do this. Sometimes if you hit it in the right spot, this will happen. And you watch him right there again. He tries to step and he sort of loses his balance. And from that point early on in the fight, as you guys can see, it's 4:16 left in the first round. This was a 5-round fight. It really forced Cejudo to fight from southpaw a lot more than he normally would like to and normally does. What is really impressive about that is that for Cejudo to be out of his comfort zone for pretty much the entirety of the fight and to still come away, he came away with the win. And even if you don't think it was a win, for it still to be that competitive for most of the fight, that really shows, that really impresses me a lot with Cejudo. But another thing to look at beyond just the leg kicks effectiveness there, as I mentioned before, Mighty Mouse was working a lot of them. And when we go through the TJ fight, we'll talk about how often he was actually using the leg kick against another guy who was an orthodox fighter, a boxer. Different stance, but similar idea in that if you're fighting a guy who fights out of a boxing stance, it can be useful to attack the front leg. But the next thing that I want to show you guys here with the Cejudo fight would be the first takedown that he landed on Demetrius Johnson. So that would be... Actually, this one here won't be the first takedown. This will be something that TJ is going to have to worry about. So one of the things about Cejudo's stance is that in that karate stance, you are susceptible to leg kicks. Cejudo is able to get away with it because of his wrestling background. A lot of times when you throw a kick at a wrestler, anytime you throw a kick, what's effectively happening is you're giving them your leg and then you're taking it away. So as you throw the kick and it lands, you're giving it to them, but then you're snapping it back and taking it away. And if you're very effective at the taking it away part, you can get away with throwing a lot of kicks, or if you can catch a guy off off balance, or if he's just not prepared for it, then you're fine. But if the guy does time it, there is that split second where you are giving him your leg and giving him an entry for a takedown. So that's what happens here with DJ throwing one of his many leg kicks.
But with DJ is constant on his feet. Oh, nice.
So Cejudo catches it and goes for the takedown. So for TJ, that's going to be something he's going to have to be careful about, is that when he does throw kicks at Cejudo may look to catch them and get a takedown off of it. And even if Cejudo isn't the most dangerous guy from top, he can still hold you down and control you from there, and that's what we're going to get into right now. So, right here.
Credits Alan Byers for helping him make that change and just the overall composition of him as a mixed martial arts striker.
So it's his trip. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up the rest of the round, and I'm going to talk about what Henry Cejudo is doing on top. And at an accelerated speed, you'll really see this here. So again, just watch what Cejudo is doing. He's got top of half guard. He's got the far side underhook, and he's just kind of holding him down here. He's not really throwing any punches. If he does throw punches, it's just arm punches, but he's not really looking to pass. He does one arm punch. Right now, he's just trying to control from top of half guard. He's just trying to hold him down. But just watch what Cejudo is doing here. Watch what kind of offense he's putting forward, if any.
Good control by Cejudo.
Got DJ on a single leg now. This is okay for Henry Cejudo, though. This is just wrestling. This isn't grappling. At this point, it's just wrestling.
You know, so with about a minute left, he gets the takedown. You know, here he's got some knees to the shoulder at the end of the round. But really, Henry Cejudo doesn't do much on top. And one of the things that kind of bugged me about the scoring here, one of the reasons why I actually gave DJ this round, is that, yes, Cejudo did get the takedown, but he wasn't actually doing anything from there. He did have the knees later on, but to me, the difference that DJ had on the feet, the advantage he had, would have more than made up for that. So what's going to be interesting in this next coming fight is how are the judges going to handle something like this if this happens again, where Cejudo gets on top and just holds. And then secondly, is the referee going to allow Cejudo to hold from top if he gets a similar position? And we're going to see this again in the fourth round. So we'll probably bump ahead. Should be around the 24-minute mark. Let's get the takedown in here too.
Scratch on him here midway through round 4.
We're still accelerated. I'll actually slow it down on the takedown because the takedown is pretty impressive.
Has added muscle.
So he goes to the double, grabs behind the knee, takes him over.
Did you see that? Oh, did you see that?
Beautiful.
Did you see the change?
Yeah, so Daniel Cormier really enjoyed that a lot. So now we'll speed up again and just kind of watch what he does from top here. Probably don't want to go that fast. But again, let's watch Henry Cejudo on top. This is with 2 minutes left in the fourth. So again, similar position. He's on top of half guard, got the far side underhook, which again, that's good for control. But let's see if he actually works the pass here. Does he work the pass? Does he work the ground and pound? And if he does throw punches, is he just throwing arm punches? Is he turning his shoulder into it? Is he posturing up at all? Again, low posture, holding.
Yeah, but here's the problem. He can't try to do too much damage because the moment he gets too much space, DJ's out. DJ is too good to try to posture and try to land big damage. You have to control here if you're Henry Cejudo.
Again, DJ's working to create some space here, but again, back in the half guard.
DJ's trying to land knees from the bottom.
Again, Cejudo right now is just working to hold him down. He's not working to pass. He's not working to submit.
Cejudo not much of a submission threat. It's just about control. Under a minute, we'll see if Cejudo can keep the champion flattened out.
There's a lot of blood coming. It looks like it's coming from Henry Cejudo.
Again, not a whole lot of work on top from Cejudo. This is mostly just to maintain position. It's not really to do anything offensive.
Henry's bleeding quite a bit. We're having a hard time finding out where it's coming from. It's coming from somewhere in his face.
No, good job defending against the sweep there, or at least defending against Mighty Mouse creating space here. But again, what is Cejudo doing here on top? It's mostly just holding position. And then now with about 10 seconds left, he's going to open up a little bit and start throwing some more arm punches. A couple elbows here. And really, I think in the fight against TJ, if Cejudo does take him down, I would imagine we're going to see a lot of similarities here. I think he's going to just try to hold him down again. He's not going to really go for anything too offensive. So for TJ, you really have to be able to fight the takedown immediately. So once the takedown is initiated, within the first second or two of your butt hitting the mat, you really got to be able to get back up, because if Cejudo can get on top of you and hold you down, he has no problem just hunkering down and letting time run out, which is what he did with DJ. So now we're going to start to look at the TJ Dillashaw fight against Cody Garbrandt and see what he did there. Looking at TJ Dillashaw's last fight, I think first it's important to establish some differences and some similarities between Garbrandt and Cejudo. So in terms of just basic level similarities, both Garbrandt and Cejudo like to fight from the orthodox stance. Both of them use stances that are fairly commonly associated with striking art. So Cejudo kind of has like that Shotokan karate style that he kind of goes through, at least the stance. Not that his fighting style is a karate style exactly, but the stance is fairly similar. Cejudo, or not Cejudo, Garbrandt is more of a boxing stance, just a pure boxing stance where he's still fairly heavy on that lead leg. So either way, in both of those stances, there is a susceptibility to leg kicks on that lead leg, which would be the left leg for the orthodox fighter. Garbrandt is not as defensively sound as Cejudo. Cejudo is very elusive, which you wouldn't think just based off of his background as a wrestler that he'd be really elusive and hard to hit as a striker. But if you actually look at the fight that he had with DJ, in the entire 5-round fight, he only was hit with 23 shots to the head over the course of 25 minutes. Whereas in the Dillashaw versus Garbrandt fight, and to be fair, Garbrandt did take a lot of these shots after he was already rocked and he was being held up against the fence or held on the ground. But Dillashaw landed 37 strikes to the head. So again, that 37 strikes landed in 4 minutes compared to Cejudo only taking 23 strikes in 25 minutes. This is for significant strikes. I guess you could also count strikes that don't count as significant that would also have landed. But for the sake of significant strikes, the point being that Cejudo is a lot tougher to hit, a little more defensive, and likes to pick his spots more so than Cody Garbrandt. Garbrandt likes to draw you in, take advantage of his hand speed and his accuracy, so that once you're in the pocket, he feels like more often than not he's going to be able to win the battle there. And to an extent, that's where he's had success against Dillashaw, and that he has won some battles in the pocket, just kind of using his speed. But Dillashaw does a much better job with his footwork in there. He kind of anticipates when he's coming in. There was the part in this fight, I'm not going to show it, but the part where Dillashaw was winging right overhands where he threw 3 of them and finally on the third one he dropped them. But the advantage that Dillashaw had there was that he had the foot positioning on Garbrandt, where Garbrandt was just trying to use his speed and didn't really have the positioning there. But to get into the leg kicks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the 5 different times that TJ Dillashaw attempted leg kicks, talk about what stance he was fighting out of. Because one of the things that's interesting about Dillashaw is that he likes to fight switch. He does southpaw and orthodox. Demetrius Johnson actually was also doing southpaw and orthodox in his fight against Henry Cejudo, and Cejudo did a fairly good job of dealing with it. Obviously, as I mentioned before, he only took 23 shots to the head. So even though he was dealing with Mighty Mouse coming out of both stances, he was able to defend well against both of them. So that's going to be something that's going to be interesting to see, is that Dillashaw is very effective offensively. It'll be interesting to see how a great defensive fighter and Henry Cejudo is able to deal with that. But just to show the leg kicks that Dillashaw was looking for on that lead left leg. On the first one, he's going to go from orthodox. He's going to throw a right kick to the outside. So I'll be right here.
Dillashaw embraces fight week to such an extent.
He actually misses that one. The next one that he looked at was about 26 seconds later or so, which will be up here. So again, misses again. Garbrandt steps away. Doesn't throw another one again for about 40 seconds. So that would put us right around here.
Cody said when his back was at its worst.
So this time it was from the southpaw stance. He was actually throwing a lead kick. And that one landed on the inside. So again, the first 2 were outside leg kicks. Both of them missed. Now, if you remember, the leg kick that did a lot of damage was an outside leg kick from Demetrius Johnson. So again, the 2 times that he went for the outside leg kicks in this fight, he missed them. But he actually hits here with the inside leg kick. The next one he throws is around 6:02. So again, there's an inside leg kick. It kind of lands. And then the last one that he'll throw in this fight will be around here. And again, inside leg kick lands. So all the inside leg kicks that landed for TJ were actually being thrown from the southpaw stance. The 2 that he threw from orthodox both missed, and both were outside leg kicks. For him, it's going to be important that he's able to land from orthodox with the outside leg kick. The fact that he didn't land it on Cody, I mean, these are different fighters. It's a little bit easier to – I think Cejudo is a little bit easier to land on with leg kicks than Cody was, especially when you're worried about every time you throw a leg kick. Once you get close to punching range with Cody, you're taking a pretty big risk, and it's not really the same with Henry Cejudo. Cejudo likes to kind of lunge in and throw his right cross a lot, but it's not the same as Garbrandt, who will throw punches in the pocket. So for Dillashaw to only be throwing 5 leg kicks in this fight, not land any from the outside from southpaw, maybe not the best sign heading into the fight with Cejudo. I think the leg kick's going to be very important for him if he's going to win this fight. Not just in terms of limiting mobility, but also in setting up head kicks or body kicks. So that's going to be something he's going to need to work on. Now, obviously, there was a Dominic Cruz fight that he had before where he was starting to have some effect with the leg kicks, but it wasn't really until the end that he kind of turned it on. And you get the feeling afterwards that if he would have done a better job earlier in the fight, that he would have potentially gotten the win there. So it'll be interesting to see if that was an issue of him just not game planning properly, or at least not making an adjustment quick enough in the Dominic Cruz fight, or if he just doesn't like throw leg kicks or isn't as effective with leg kicks as you'd imagine. And I think we're really going to find that out in this fight. Again, like I mentioned before, he's going to have to try to snap the kicks in really quick and pull them out really quick, because you don't want to give Cejudo a chance to take you down, potentially just kind of hold you down like he did with Mighty Mouse. But if Dillashaw doesn't use the leg kicks as well as he's capable of, if he doesn't throw more outside leg kicks from the orthodox stance, this fight's going to be a lot more difficult for him than I think a lot of people are predicting. So if I had to make a bet on who I think is going to win this fight, I have a really hard time. I did bet against Henry Cejudo in the last fight. I didn't think he won, but his improvements have been very quick. He's very sound defensively. What we've seen and what we've been impressed by in Dillashaw in his last couple fights have been against very aggressive fighters, both in the 2 fights with Cody Garbrandt and also John Lineker. Cejudo is not going to be as aggressive as the guys who he's recently fought. Dominic Cruz wasn't exactly the most aggressive fighter, and obviously Cruz and Cejudo have much different styles, but what we're going to see from Cejudo versus what we've seen from TJ's most recent opponents is going to be significantly different, and it's going to be interesting to see how TJ handles it. If I'm going to have a fight connection, I think I'm going to lean slightly towards TJ just because he has so many different ways to win, and because I've seen a lot more from him. I think I have a better understanding of where TJ is at right now, whereas Cejudo, every time it seems he takes a break, he makes a big step forward, so it's kind of hard to tell if he's making a step forward, what sort of steps is he going to take, and how's that going to benefit him. But either way, this is a fight I can't wait to see. I'm hoping nothing happens here. TJ's looked a little out of sorts in some of his videos. It's hard to tell if the weight cut's having an effect on him. Hopefully he does make weight in the first place, because it sounds like they're going to put Joseph Benavidez in the fight if one of them misses weight, which is sort of interesting. I feel like if you're the UFC, you almost say, hey, if Cejudo misses weight, then you put Joseph Benavidez in. But if Dillashaw misses weight, I don't know if it'd be possible for them to say, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to move this up to a 35-pound title fight instead. Cejudo, you don't have to make it all the way down to 125. And then from there, the loss for TJ is that he cut extra weight than he would have had to make 135. And then also, instead of not having his belt on the line, now his belt's on the line and he has more to lose. But it doesn't look like that's how they're going to do it. So hopefully TJ makes 125. Hopefully the speculation ends up not being an issue at all. We see a good technical fight from them. Hopefully both of them can maintain their gas tanks. Cejudo I'm not so much worried about, because he did pretty well with Mighty Mouse, but we haven't seen Dillashaw at 125. And hopefully we get a really good technical fight.